when you start competing against other people, that's kind of like the surface, or that's like the shallow end of the pool.
Yeah.
And so that can easily like sway you. Like your roots don't go down very deep if you just competing against other people. Like that's the only thing that gets you on in the morning. But I think it's really deep when you said, I'm competing against myself. What's the best version of myself? That's the deeper. That's what goes even deeper. Like what kind of husband was I a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago? Am I comparing myself to that? What's going on, world, and welcome back to the Pursuit of the Good Life podcast, your favorite personal development podcast. I am your host, the Kameron Lovelace, joined as always by Dr. Sarah Benson. What's going on, Sarah?
I am good, Cam. I'm waiting for the weekend. So
the week just started, Sarah.
I know, but I started my new policy where as a form of self-care, I do no work on Saturdays. I don't do any work on the weekend. And so I just realized what a luxury that is. Mm-hmm. And as a motivating factor for myself, I told myself, you just got to get to Friday. And so it's Monday and I only have 4 more days to Friday. How are you?
I am good. So I've kind of flipped that. So I don't necessarily work on the weekends, but it's like Monday is kind of like my planning. Sunday, Monday are like my planning days. Like we're going to fill out what the week is going to bring. And cause I do not reach out to clients on the weekend. So it's like Monday morning, I'll reach out and say, hey, is this time still good? This time still good, blah, blah, blah. So I'm literally putting them on my calendar for the week. Mm-hmm. Just to make sure. So it's like Monday is kind of like my shift and adjust day to kind of feel it out. And then boom, Tuesday we hitting the ground running. So I will say though, I have been, physically in a different place because I'm trying to like bump up my workout schedule to 4 days a week instead of just 3 days a week or 2 days a week. So I hit all 4 last week and I got a head start on yesterday. So I don't think I'm gonna work out today. I think I'm gonna rest today and pick it up tomorrow. So in a perfect world, you just work out every other day and you hit your mark. In a perfect world. But some days you just like, I ain't feeling it. Or something will come up. Like last week, we were recording on Wednesday, so it's like I gotta edit and chop up the podcast, so I need to work out in the morning. So it's like if I don't consciously do that, then it doesn't happen. So
I understand completely. I've decided, I'm trying to change my eating habits, and so it has been interesting.
Oh yeah,
it's really interesting. But I can say I do feel better. Like I feel like a lot better. Like I'm able to like get up earlier and just do certain things. And so, but I be hungry, and so because I'm getting up extra early so I can eat breakfast, and by 11 o'clock, I'm like, yes, it's time to eat lunch. And I'm bringing my lunch with me. So there's like no excuse and all of those things. And I'm going to cook my dinner tonight. So it's been going pretty good.
Y'all still doing the veggie thing?
Yes, I'm doing a modified version of it, but we are definitely doing that. So I'm sticking with no fried food. Only like fish and chicken if I have to have something, but it's been really good. Like I've been figuring out like ways to like not really eat as much meat. So it's been going good. It's been going good.
Now I will say you gotta watch out because there are plenty unhealthy vegetarians.
Yeah.
So people say, oh, I don't eat meat no more, but you look unhealthy.
And eat nothing but carbs, eat nothing but bread,
sugar, like you
sugar.
all the other stuff that is killing you way faster than the meat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just be wary of that. But speaking of, I do have, as we talked about offline, we have another one gotta go.
For my
Now,
notes.
so the image, and I'll put it on the screen when I'm editing and cutting it. Says the image says you win unlimited bread for a lifetime. Where do you want it from? And the options are Texas Roadhouse, Red Lobsters, garlic butter biscuits, Olive Garden's Breadsticks, or the Outback rolls. So let's go through this in the one gotta go fashion. So for me, first thing that has to stay is Texas Roadhouse rolls.
Okay, is it the rolls or is it the butter?
I'm gonna say both. I mean, it's both. But the thing is, because it's the rolls, I can put that with so many different dishes.
Okay.
So it's like that one. That's first and foremost Texas Roadhouse. But the butter is fire. I'll get you there. The butter is fire. So what's the first that got to stay for you?
The first for me, and I had to think about it. I was like, well, which would that's why I asked, is it really the rolls or is it the butter? That was like kind of the determining factor for me for like my number one spot. Mm-hmm. And so for me, number one would be Red Lobster's cheddar biscuits. Okay. Those are so good.
They are.
When they are fresh. And then I would do Texas Roadhouse because of the butter, because that cinnamon butter is really good.
Okay, so your number two. So your number two is Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, number three is Olive Garden because I do like their breadsticks. So Olive Garden used to have my favorite lunch until they took it off the menu, and I'm like so sad. For $8, you can get a full salad, breadsticks, and they used to have this meat. This is so bad. It's so bad. It's so many calories. But they would take a meatball sandwich and put it in between two breadsticks.
That sounds really good.
It was really good for $8 for lunch. The best lunch. So and if you're a struggling grad student, you ain't got about $8. That is a luxury for lunch.
So I guess that means by default, yeah, the Outback gots to go.
Yeah, but you know, I haven't really had Outback in a long time. So, and I was literally like, when you see the picture, I was literally trying to think like, what does Outback's bread taste like? Like, it must not be that memorable if I can't really like draw a memory. So like, I can think of like I made the connection to Olive Garden and all these other places, but like, I really can't remember. Like, I'm kind of wondering why they on the list. Like, I could think of a few other places to put in their place, but you know.
Look, I'm right there with you. So my number two. The number two was the hardest spot for me because the garlic butter biscuits, they hold a special place in my heart, and so do the Olive Garden breadsticks. But I probably had to go with you and lean towards the garlic butter breadsticks. The garlic butter biscuits, because like one, they just moist. They like you said, when it's hot, it's moist. It just melts in your mouth and you can just eat it. Mm-hmm. But Olive Garden breadsticks are good, but they're not even the best breadsticks out there. Personally, I think Fazoli's has the best breadsticks.
Really? You know, I haven't had Fazoli's in a while.
Sarah.
I mean, we used to, my brother worked there like when he was in high school. So like, It's been a minute since I had like a breadstick.
The breadsticks, yeah, that from Fazoli's. So I had to, but the breadsticks from Olive Garden are good, especially pairing it with the salad that comes out with it. Like you have that team together is just a great experience. I had Outback bread about a month ago.
Really? Was it good?
No, it was just there. You know, it's just there. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's bread. It's dry. It's hard. Well, it's not hard, but it's like not melt in your mouth bread. It's not. It didn't even bring it out hot. It's just like it's been like, oh, we had this sitting in the back. Like, here you go. Here's some butter with it.
That's so true.
Like, you can't eat that by itself. You have to put something on it to eat it.
Yeah.
Like the biscuits, the breadsticks, the rolls. Oh, you can just pop them right out. You ain't it. The butter's just extra.
That's true.
You can just
You
take
know who's living in their place?
Who?
Old Charlie's.
I was thinking about that too, but Old Charlie's ain't really outside of the South like that.
It's some outside of the South.
Okay, but yeah, Old Charlie's rolls. Yeah, I eat them all day too.
Yeah, you ain't gotta have the butter with them. Like you could just eat them because they be hot and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna say, think like, what else could go there? Old Charlie's could go there. The Cheesecake Factory has good like bread.
I ain't had that bread.
They bring out like it's like a bunch of like different ones, and so you can like choose which ones you want. I like it for the like variety of bread that you can get at the Cheesecake Factory.
Not like a signature staple.
It's like a bunch of like different ones, and you just pick the ones you like. Which I was like, you know what? I like that. I like having a choice with my bread options. So, but yeah. So many other places other than Outback, in my opinion.
Yeah, Outback, like you said, it's not like a memorable bread. And the fact that it's not memorable, like every one of those I have an experience. I haven't had Texas Roadhouse rolls in I don't know how long, but I remember immediately that butter and that hot, just steaming with it. Just bring it out. And you know who also has good stuff? And this ain't finna be a food episode, y'all. But Cheddars.
Yes.
Even though Cheddar's service is trash, like they service is horrible. At least over here when they were in Memphis. They had them big crescent rolls with the honey butter.
Yes. You know, I didn't even think of Cheddar's, but yes, like if I had a rank, it would probably be Cheddar's, then Red Lobster, then Texas Roadhouse, and Olive Garden. Because I really like Cheddars. And you know, now they give you 2 for free.
Now they're doing it for free because you know they always charge if you order it. For them two biscuits. Nah, you bring me a whole dozen. Bring me a smooth dozen for the table.
Good. That was a good one. I didn't even think about Cheddars because the only one in Memphis is off of
Winchester,
Germantown Parkway.
Oh, okay. Because you know the one on Winchester got closed down and now it's something else because they service was
like a juicy crab.
Horrible. Yeah, juicy crab, which I haven't been there either yet.
Yeah,
but I ain't been nowhere. I went to Outback only because that was Sparkle's line sister's graduation and we was in Conway. Okay. But as far as going and sitting in a restaurant,
y'all haven't gone and eat it yet.
I don't trust the people. Yeah. But I know you just went last week.
Yeah, last weekend, not this past weekend, but it's been about a week, almost 2 weeks. We went to this place in South Haven for my brother's birthday. And so, which was pretty interesting. It's really interesting to see the way people do guidelines in different states. So like in Texas, restaurants are open. It's not full capacity, but like you can't wait. So if there's a wait, you have to wait in your car. They'll text you. You have your mask on. They're doing like every other table. Like it's really like distant. When we were here in South Haven, like they let you wait in the waiting room. Some people were walking in. They didn't have on masks. They didn't make people mask up. Like they were supposed to do every other table. The area where we were sitting in was every other table, so I can give them that. It was definitely every other table, but this is kind of, it's a little bit different.
Oh yeah,
rest of the world.
I don't trust the people to do what they need to do. So it's like, let me get my to-go order because I know at least the employees will have gloves on.
Yeah.
So I just hadn't been feeling it.
I got you completely. Well, hopefully by, I don't know, Christmas.
We'll see. You know, Ed, we know that school is going to be shut down. Well, not shut down, but virtual in essence until December. So
January at least.
Yeah. So
they shut down colleges again. Apparently, it's been like a bunch of outbreaks.
Gee, I wonder why.
Because college did it.
Yeah.
What a party.
Yep. But I mean, hey, I called it months ago.
You did. You did call that. You definitely did. You said that once they move back, there's going to be another outbreak. And I was reading an article earlier today that said that like colleges, campuses are now hotbeds for COVID. Like schools have been like completely shutting them down because they want to kick it.
Oh yeah.
Like this one girl went viral because she said that she was positive and still wanted to go party.
Oh, terrible. See, I have a god sister who was supposed to start over here at U of M this fall.
Yeah.
She decided to just stay in Jonesboro.
Did she?
Just take her first little classes at A State.
Yeah.
And then she's gonna come over next fall. So I was like, hey, I ain't mad at you, dude. Be smart.
Yeah. I mean, this is the time to do that. Like, I really do feel bad for those people who are starting college because it's like, not only did you not get a graduation, but you're not really getting like the freshman experience, really. Because
them sophomore year is gonna be something wild. The sophomores and freshmen gonna be at the same little things.
They're the same thing because it's like you didn't get a chance to do really much do nothing.
Right.
Because everything's virtual. Well, you know, Memphis is getting ready to head into phase 2.
Well, that's good for Memphis. I can't speak for everybody else.
Yeah, University. I got an email last week saying that they are getting ready to head to phase 2, which includes bringing some of the classes back to campus. Because right now they're fully virtual. And so there are going to be some classes held maybe in a hybrid situation. I got to go back and read the email. It really don't apply to me because I was teaching online anyway. So I'm just like, okay, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have to change nothing. But we're moving into phase 2. So hopefully we won't be the next hotbed of the virus.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can keep it that way. And hopefully it stays that way in January. But
I mean, do you really see us going back to in person in January?
It's too close to call right now since we're just in September. I'm concerned about the fall breaks.
Why?
Because, some people will maybe go home, maybe they won't. So let's say they go home and their relatives got it, then they bring it back to campus. And the people who they're accustomed to hanging around who didn't have it before, now they're getting all that. So, but we'll see because I won't say most, a lot of campuses are cutting off after Thanksgiving, right?
They are. Yeah, I know Memphis doesn't have a fall break, and
the
week. So Thanksgiving is pretty much the end. Like that because I think I have to have my grades in the week after Thanksgiving, and so like leading up to Thanksgiving, that's like going to be the end of it.
Okay.
So once you go home for Thanksgiving, you pretty much done if you living at the dorm.
Oh well, we'll see. I think if a lot of other campuses are also not doing fall break, then okay, I can maybe see it because every time it's like there's something that warrants a celebration or a large gathering of people, there seems to be spikes thereafter, which I think they're still monitoring, like to see if Labor Day affected now's numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say I'm interested to see because if we can survive like these next couple months, and keep the numbers low, then the spikes that will happen over Thanksgiving and Christmas hopefully won't be as bad.
Yeah, but that's like wanting people to do right, which we don't really do right. Because I've read an article that said Canada hasn't had any new cases, or Canada ain't had something, or new deaths or something. And
they just went a day without a single death.
And we're at like the thousands still.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and interesting enough, I feel like people think it's just gonna go away, and that concerns me a lot. That concerns me a lot. I feel like people are just getting just really like, it is what it is, and it's out here, and that just really concerns me because yeah, that just concerns me because I feel like we're in a pandemic. It's very real, but y'all won't stay home or
Right.
wear your mask. Y'all kids ain't doing it either. And all these schools are having outbreaks and
Mm-hmm.
all that good stuff. So yeah, but so hopefully it gets better. I mean, because we do have election day.
Don't even get me started on that. But that's a whole nother thing too, because whoever's in office in January will determine what happens after that as well. So
that is true. I didn't even think about that, but that is true.
mm-hmm. And not just federal, not just presidential, but state and local as well. So we'll see what happens. But we didn't get on this to talk about bread and COVID numbers. So sometimes, when we come up with podcast topics, it is about, we get on and we're like, okay, so what are we going to talk about? And then sometimes like things will pop in on my screen as far as the social media streets. And I think that, that's kind of interesting. I think we should explore that. And that's kind of what happened this week is that I was, on Friday, saw this video from women's basketball at Duke University. And one of their coaches was talking about the difference between working hard and competing. And I'm going to summarize kind of the speech she was giving her players in that you can show up every day and I can tell you to do these drills. We're going to try to make these times and do it in this way. And you can work hard to get to that result and even achieve that type of results. But it's a different level of energy when you are competing with and against the teammates and opponents. Mm-hmm. It's a different level of energy to put yourself out there and try to compete against the person that is opposing you. Like it just takes the level of hard work to a whole nother level because you want to beat this person. So if this person has basically met your PR, then you're now going to push yourself to then beat your PR so that you can beat them. And that's typically like the mindset of what she was trying to say is that every day you come out of here and do practice, I need you not just to work hard, but I need you to compete. And I read and I listened to that video and I was like, wow, I was like, that's real deep. And I reflected back to when I was an athlete and I was like, yeah, I kind of had that same mindset when we would go at it in practice and do stuff like that. But then I started to reflect over people who didn't necessarily need that motivation with other people. So the illustrious Kobe Bryant, the Michael Jordans, and these are two individuals that you pull back and you look behind the curtain and see that these people didn't need much to get going. And these people were relentless in their hard work, that they were not just talented, but they worked hard to maintain the talent and even push it to another level, motivated by, beating the bad boy Pistons, proving that he could win without Shaq, different things about other people motivated them, but it was about the day-to-day that they did with just them and their trainer that pushed them to work hard and compete at the same time. And so when we think about life, and those of us who are not athletes anymore, or those of us who have never been athletes, what does this have to do with me? Well, what is motivating you to push toward like your desired goals and your desired dreams? Like what are those things that motivate you? And I think today I want to really talk about like exploring those factors of what does motivate you, what does get you going in the direction that you should be going. So like when I think about my financial goals, it's not necessarily about owning the nicest things. It's about, okay, what position, if I make this amount of money, what position will this put my family in?
Yeah.
What will this do for Sparkle if I can provide this type of lifestyle for her? What will this do for my kids? What type of environment will I be able to create for them? Like, how many experiences will I be able to create with them if I work hard? Versus if it was just me, it's like, oh, okay, I'll be satisfied with, this amount, or just doing the minimum gigs instead of really pushing to the next level. And then there's the aspect of, if you got people who you rock with that are in their own lane, doing their own thing, and you see them doing this result, you're like, hold on. You very sharp. I need to sharpen my blade against you so I can push to another level. It's like a healthy competition, if you will. It's like, oh, you made that. Okay, I'm gonna try to make that. I'm gonna try to beat you at that. And then you like, ooh, okay, let's get it together and let's one up each other. So now we both doing good. And so it's like I said, that video really just kind of struck me, and I'm hoping that if you listen to this, number one, that you're in the mindset of trying to get better. Mm-hmm. And a really integral part of getting better is finding the stuff that's going to fuel you and motivate you. But Sarah, what do you think take away from the video?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was thinking along the same lines. So like, I was trying to follow along. At first I was like, okay. But once she like got to the end, I was like, wow, like that makes so much sense. But what I took away from it was not necessarily the competition part, but the being the best me part. Mm-hmm. So that's what I kind of took away from it. Like when she asked the question, like at the end of the day, did you work hard or you compete? I took it as, did I work hard or was I my best? Because when you're competing, you try to be the best, right? You try to be the best version of yourself. You're going to go hard. You're going to do all of those things. And that's the way I kind of took it. Like, okay, so at the end of the day, did I just work really hard? Because, we will, everybody works hard. Like, I like how she said that, like, everybody works hard based off of the standards, qualifications, or whatever it is you have to do. You have to work hard.
Or somebody can work you hard.
Or somebody can work you hard, right? Like, I really like what she said about that. And it made me think, like, was I the best today? Like, was I the best version of myself? And what does it mean to be the best? And so if you're an athlete, you can ask yourself, what do I have to do to be better than everybody on this line with me? Do I need to run harder? Do I need to train better? Do I need to stay after practice for another 2 hours and shoot in the gym? Do I need to do all those things? Like, what is it that I need to do to be better? And I kind of took it as, at the end of the day, you kind of ask yourself that question, was I the best? And if I wasn't, what do I have to do to be better? And I think for a lot of people, because I know some people, they kind of shy away from thinking like I'm always in competition with somebody, or I got to compare myself to everybody else. But think about compare yourself to yourself, right? If that makes sense. So at the end of the day, you can ask like, okay, did I meet all of these goals? Was I the best version of myself? If I wasn't, what do I have to do to be better? Mm-hmm. And that's something that I took away from it, like something that I definitely will start to think about. Like at the end of the day, like, was I the best Sarah today? And if I wasn't, what can I do to be a better Sarah tomorrow? Is that getting up an extra 30 minutes early so I can eat breakfast? Is that going to the gym? Is that doing this? Like, what do I have to do to be the best? Not necessarily work just stupid hard, because that's what we do, but how do you be the best version of yourself here? Because that's essentially what competing against somebody else is being the best. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you want to be number one. You want to be the top person. So you have to be the best you in that moment. And I like that, because I think a lot of people, and I agree with her when she said that a lot of people confuse hard work with competition, and that we'll be like, oh, that person worked hard, but it's like, maybe it's the competition of it. Maybe it's the fact that like you want to stand out. That's why you did what you had to do, versus okay, I'm just going to work hard because I'm trying to get this done. And so I think that video is a good video to show people, especially students or just people just trying to just to do something different, because it'll help you motivate yourself in a sense. Right. Like for me, I took it as like, this is motivating for me. Like, was I the best Sarah today? What I got to do to be better, versus, okay, well, let me compare myself to this person. Because for some people that works. Like some people, comparing, well, not necessarily compare, but seeing it as a competition works. Like, you know what, I'm gonna be better than this person. Or maybe it's a friendly competition, like you said. Like if we have a group of friends I'm sorry, y'all, my emails are going crazy. Um, you have a group of friends and you're like, you know what, we're all gonna make an extra 5,000 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know what, I'm gonna make an extra 10. I'm gonna match your 5 or I'm gonna beat your 5. Sometimes that works. But some people, they're like, I don't care what they people do. Like some people are like,
Right. And to go deeper with that, I think that, when you start competing against other people, that's kind of
yeah,
like the surface, or that's like the shallow end of the pool.
yeah,
And so that can easily like sway you. Like your roots don't go down very deep if you just competing against other people. Like
yeah,
that's the only thing that gets you going in the morning. But I think it's really deep when you said, I'm competing against myself. What's the best version of myself? That's the deeper. That's what goes even deeper. Like what kind of husband was I a month ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago? Am I comparing myself to that?
yeah,
Like what kind of business owner, what kind of therapist, what kind of man am I becoming compared to where I was 5 years ago?
yeah.
That's true competition.
That is true.
That's truly saying it, because it could be, and we don't want to make, and when you're looking at things like that you want to compete against, try not to make it like real shallow. So like, for example, let's say, okay, yeah, I want to make $50,000 more this year. I want to make $100,000 more this year. Okay, yeah, you might make more money, but how are you making it? Like, are you losing all your sleep because of that? Are you stressed because you feel like you got to
Right.
make that money? Like, not just how much you're making, but how are you making it? How are you going to that next level? Are you sacrificing your relationship with your kids to get there? Are you being mean to people? Are you being a tyrant at work? Are you cheating the system? Like, what are you doing? Not only like competing against yourself, but how am I going to get there? Like working smarter instead of harder.
I agree with you. And I was gonna say that, like, I think people also have to get in that mindset that, like, when we try to better ourselves, it's not always physical. Like sometimes we get in that mindset that, like, okay, I just gotta be better. I gotta go to the gym. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Like, it could be, are you just a better person? Like, were you kind to somebody today? Like, did you blow up? Are you somebody who you're always blowing up at people, so nobody wants to be around you, right? Nobody wants to tell you when there's an issue because you're going to click or go off. You know, can you be better to people in that instance, right? Like, can you be better to yourself? How are you taking care of yourself in some of these cases? And so for me, one of the things I thought about when I was watching it and after was, how can I be the best version of myself for myself? Like, that's one of the areas that I'm constantly working on, because I can do really great for everybody else.
For everybody.
I'm the big supporter, cheerleader,
Yep.
great. But the one area that I know me personally, I need to focus on is how to be the best version of Sarah. And that could be different things, different days, but I want to make sure that I'm always giving the best me to me along this journey as well.
Big facts. So I want to dive deeper into that, because like you said, it's more than just like physical. Because so like going back to, if you haven't listened to the Core 4 episode, I don't know what number it is, but go back and and dive into that. But like looking at like comparing, like competing against that version of yourself you were years ago. So
Yeah.
you're gonna break this down like in terms of the Core 4. Let's say the physical aspect of it. And so I'm going to use me for an example. So for me, I can remember back when I was 16 and weighed 165 soaking wet.
Mm-hmm.
And then this man named Kenan Brooks came into my life and decided that, hey, we're going to get you physically, like we're going to work you out. Now, Kenan Brooks is my second dad. He's a bodybuilder. Played college football. Like he's very much in shape, even at the tender age of like 55 plus, probably like 58 now, but in his upper 50s, still in great shape. And so when I stepped on the scale this past weekend, I looked at it and I was like, okay, because usually for me, like a signal that I need to, hey, you need to make some lifestyle changes here is like if I'm nearing a certain like weight. So let's say that weight is like 210. And mind you, I'm not in the gym, I'm not powerlifting, I'm not doing anything. So if I'm approaching that scale, that means that something is going on with my eating habits and I'm not working out enough. Mm-hmm. But as I said before, I've been working out like consistently, and I'm noticing that I feel like very good. I feel better, but my weight is still going up. But yet I'm not gaining any like physically. I'm like, I said, Sparkle, do I look bigger? And she said, no, you don't look. It's like, so I'm gaining. So the version of me that was last year's comparison is not fit into this year's comparison.
That's good.
When we talk about, that physical aspect of it. So what we do on a day-to-day basis, 8 hours. Okay, yeah, that's good, but I'm not as productive if I get a full 8 hours. So maybe I need to cut that off about 7.5 and use that extra half to get up and pray, or to get up and fix my lunch, so that I'm not eating at McDonald's or eating at Zaxby's on my lunch break, which is spending money, and I'm eating stuff that's unhealthy, but packing my lunch. So it's like when you are competing with yourself, you got to hold yourself to a higher standard than you were in the previous years. So the things that I was doing at 165, I'm not doing that. 220, what am I, 209 now? 209. Well, I stepped on the scale this morning. I lost 3 pounds magically. I don't know how. But at 206. And also, so that's like in the physical aspect. Like really, that's tangible. That's real easy. Mentally is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So, and mentally, I think this is so interesting, because I had a conversation before we hopped on with my client, and she basically said, I've noticed in the past 6 months, i.e., when quarantine started, I'm not who I was. I'm normally a bubbly person who's constantly, talking to people, going out of my way, and have all this energy, and now I don't. And so what my challenge to you is, those of you listening, is what type of mental energy is like going on in your head right now? Mm-hmm. Is it constantly full of stress? Are you worried about this? Are you worried about things that you shouldn't be worried about? True. Are you thinking about this? Are you in a completely different emotional space? Like, are you easily disturbed? Like, are you easily angered? Are you easily saddened? Like, start to think about, what is the best version of myself, like Sarah said, and am I striving towards that, or am I striving away from that?
Yeah. And you have to think, so you got to think back, that's one of the things I think we also promote, is just a lot of self-evaluation. Mm-hmm. And it might be hard to kind of see yourself. So if you do have people close to you, you can absolutely ask them, like, hey, like, how do you think I handle this? Or how do you think I handle this? And just been to that constructive, their constructive comments, because sometimes we may not see it. It might take somebody else on the outside who sees it, and that can kind of give you a baseline to work for. Because I know me personally, like, I have done I'm a completely different person than I was a year ago. Mm. Like, in so many aspects of my life, completely different.
Do you think that's because of therapy, or turning 30, or what do you think that's related?
All of it. I think me graduating.
In my opinion, you were a very decent person a year ago.
I mean, I was a decent person, but I'm saying, like, as far as to myself, and like where I was, like, mentally to myself, just all of that, like, me as like a person outside of like my jobs and all of those things, I'm a completely different person. Mm-hmm. Like, and I think it started with me graduating and like transitioning from a piece of life that I always known, which I don't think we talk about that a lot. Like, when you graduate and are fully done with school, like, that's a piece of yourself that you got to let go. So it's like transitioning from that, transitioning into therapy, transitioning into the real world, a lot of my friendships changed, my relationships changed, who I was to myself changed. My relationship with God changed. Like, so many things happened over this last year, and I can literally look back and recognize like shifts that kind of happen. So being able to stand up for myself in certain areas of my life, having that confidence to say certain things, you know what I mean? Putting in boundaries, right? The person that's always on the go, always doing, you know, stuff like that. And so now I'm in this position where I'm able to really like fully assess my life and see like the areas like, okay, look, you might need to decrease here, or you might need to do this here. Whereas last year, I didn't even have a starting ground. I didn't even have a starting place. Like, and for a while, I didn't even know that that wasn't normal, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes you'll get so caught up in, I don't even want to call it dysfunction, but you'll get so caught up in a certain type of way that it becomes normal. Like, even like it was even down to my body. Cause like even around like October, November. So if you know, like when you've been in school for a long time, around October, November, midterms, you get into like, I call it like the midterm slouch, right? So you're not really paying attention to what you eat. You really don't care what you wear. You just going, you're cranky, you're up. Like, I found my body, even though I was out of school, making that shift. And I had to stop that. I had to like, that's actually when I started therapy. I started therapy in November of last year. Because I had just got to this place where I was just like, you know what? I am not okay. I'm not okay. And it's okay to say that you're not okay. And so for me, I'm in this position now where it's like, okay, I've been going to therapy. I've been doing all these things. I'm putting in steps into place. And now I can like really observe and fully like assess where I am like mentally, where I am emotionally, like where I'm trying to go, like what I'm trying to do. And I'm happy with that. Being 30, you know what, the one thing I can say, this might be a sidebar, but the one thing a lot of people, I would ask them like, what was so different about 30? Like turning 30 or being in your 30s. And everybody says the same thing. You care less about so much stuff.
I've heard that too.
It's so true. Like, being in the place that I am now, it's just, there are certain things that you just don't care about. Like, it is what it is. I know where I am. I know where I stand. I know what I want. I know what's going on. And if it's not a part of that, it's okay. I'm not going to lose no sleep over certain stuff. Because let me tell you something. I used to be up all night. And I look back on some of the stuff I was up all night doing. Some of that stuff I didn't have to do. But that's neither here nor there. Bringing it back to our podcast, you have to do the work mentally. Like, you have to do the work. You have to do the evaluation. Like, you need to critically look at your lives to make sure that you are being the best version of yourself. And if you're not, you said what?
You have to work hard to compete.
Right. And so you need to be able to have a baseline to at least know, like, you know what, that don't work. And if it don't work, we can find something that does work.
Big facts. So for those of y'all who are listening and didn't catch that, Sarah really reflected over how she was in school, how she was when she was in school, when she got out of school, and she was like, wait a minute. I'm not in school no more. Like, I shouldn't be feeling like I got a whole dissertation to write. No, the dissertation's already been wrote, already been submitted, already been IRB approved. It's already, that's in the past. What's going on? Like, why am I still feeling this way? I don't want to feel this way anymore. And now it's time to do the work to get in a better place. And for those, and maybe that means you need to go to therapy.
Maybe. I know I needed it.
So maybe that means you need to go to therapy. Maybe that means you need to like take stock and look at, oh yeah, I can make some mental, emotional changes to me, maybe my circle, and maybe my habits, the things that I'm letting inside of my space and my system. It's so funny because, like, going back to the client I just got off the phone with, she said that her playlist was she called it "In My Feelings" playlist. Well, how often do you listen to that playlist? Oh, every day. But you saying you listening to something that physically is titled "In My Feelings," but you noticing now 6 months later that you feeling some type of way.
What helps. Yeah.
I ain't saying, and I said I don't know if you listen to Adele. I don't think you are, but Adele sounds like she's crying in every single one of her songs.
She do.
And listening to Adele will probably put you in a different type of headspace if you're listening to it every single day. So
that's so true.
So yeah, so how are are you working hard and competing against that version of yourself? It means you got to make a change and you got to replace it and do something different.
I agree. I was going to say that, like, I actually had a similar thing. I didn't realize that, like, what you listen to matters that much until, like, I recognized that, like, there were certain songs or playlists that, like, I would just immediately go to if I was, like, feeling a certain type of way, and it made it worse. Like, it made it so bad.
It makes you take a sit. It's you sitting on it.
So bad. And I remember one day I was a guy friend of mine. He's like, "What you doing?" This was like years ago. I was like, "I'm listening to this song," and he was like, "Are you depressed?" I was like, "No, why?" And he was like, "This is some depressing stuff. Like, what's going on? Do we need to talk?"
Right.
And I was like, "I just like the song." He was like, "No, like, what's really going on? Because this is like," he like straight up asked. He's like, "Are you depressed? Like, what's going on?" And I didn't even realize. Here I am thinking, "Oh, I just like it." But really, like, it was feeding this place in me. So just be cognizant of what you are consuming. Whether it's your music or social media or something. Like, if you find yourself only, doing only allowing certain things in your space, that might be an indicator that, you know what, might want to do some evaluating, especially if it's like really sad, downbeat stuff like every day. Yeah, you might want to check that.
Right. Big facts. And I mean, I think this that goes even deeper when you start comparing, like, relationally.
Yeah.
Like, when you start I mean, you just and it's so easy to get complacent and not work hard, or to think what you're doing is enough, like the minimum. Like, I'm gonna do the minimum. I'm gonna make sure that I check on them every 6 months, or that for those of y'all who can handle this, say, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go out on date night every week." Well, since Corona been out, have you been continuing that date night? I know I haven't. I'm just be honest.
Yeah.
But we still will, like, spend time together. We'll watch different shows. We'll order food in. Like, sometimes it's gonna take that extra work, especially relationally. Like, I can remember, like, for this year, my mom wanted to. She turned 50 this year. Wanted to do the big party with 150 of her friends. Who these 150 people are, I have no idea. But you know what? It's whatever. But obviously, COVID canceled all that. So me saying this is still an important milestone, I'm going to host a party with friends and family at my house. And so we did that. And so, but that's something that I've never done before. And to be honest, it was pretty uncomfortable. But I'm doing this, for my mom, to celebrate my mom, because this is important. And I didn't have to do this. Like, I didn't have to say, I want to do this party at my house. Didn't have to, but I chose to, because I'm competing with the versions of myself that have done this. That is uncomfortable. I'm going to stretch and I'm going to pull and do the things to continue to build these moments and continue to build the relationships that we have with the people that are here. Because, quiet as kept, not everybody's going to make it. Like, as long as you think it is. So, yeah, man, it just when it comes to, like, that concept, like, it can go so deep and so down the rabbit hole. But when we are wanting the best versions of ourselves, you really have to like take stock of where you are now and where you were, like whatever your, like Sarah said, your baseline.
Yeah.
Years ago, if you were, you know, top tier athlete with 6-pack abs, but you saying, I don't want to work out 2-a-days no more.
Yeah.
like I don't want to do 2-a-days of footballs and be squatting 400 pounds and benching two. You know, I don't want to work that hard no more. I'm a married man now. I got 5 kids. I got all this good stuff. I would rather spend my time bench pressing the kids, spending time with them, and then just let me do my workout 3-4 times a week instead of 10 times a week. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to look at it in the whole perspective when you're talking about competing against yourself.
I got you. I'm with you.
Mm-hmm. But I just think it's such a simple concept, but you know, I don't know why people just don't get it sometimes. Well, I think people get complacent. Let me say that.
Yeah, they probably get complacent. You know, oftentimes we don't like to face ourselves because then we have to be honest with ourselves. And sometimes we get comfortable in our mess or our comfort zone, and having to change makes people uncomfortable. And so we just got to get over being uncomfortable and really like go out, get out there and be better and do better for yourself.
But I think that's the importance of like having people around you, though. Like you said earlier, is that if you got people that you know, trust, love, that they'll have your best interest in their mind, then you can have somebody that tells you, hey man, you gave a piss poor effort that time. You can do better. Like, hey man, you not. I know those ribs are good. I know the Texas Roadhouse rolls, they fire, dog. But hey man, you 40-ish, you 30-ish, and I ain't heard you talk about working out, going to get a physical, making sure your blood pressure is right. I ain't heard you talk about that. When's the last time you had that conversation with your doctor, doc? And so, like, having people that are like that in your life who will say, hey man, are you doing this? Like what's going on? You're not doing your best effort that I know you to do. Mm-hmm. But like I said, that's why it's so important to have these type of people that can not necessarily check you, but can tell you. And so, yeah, man. But with that being said, that's why it's important to be in the Good Life community like we got. I'm not going to go into a large spiel about it. If you're in it, you is. If you ain't, you ain't. You need to do better.
It is what it is. What he said, y'all.
If you want this work, you get in the community and you get around people like that. But if not, you want to stay where you at. You want to work the medium on the little boy, then go ahead and go for that. I see Sarah's already getting tired, so it sounds like that time to wrap this up. But any closing remarks, Sarah?
No, I think we said everything. I'm with you. Trying to motion whoever's coming in, let them know I am recording. Give me a little more time. But no, I have no closing remarks.
Terrible.
Oh, I would like to say this. So when this does come out on Thursday, I would like to give a happy special shout out to my baby sister, Emily, who will be 26 when this airs.
What? She's 26 already?
Yes, Emily is 26. So happy birthday to you, beautiful. And I hope that you enjoy 26.
Big facts. Happy birthday, M dog. I'll just say that really reflect and see if you are working hard. Mm-hmm. One of you even in the game. Let me say that. If you even show up to practice, to get better, because the point of practice is to get better each day. So are you even showing up, number one? Number two, are you working hard? or are you competing? Are you working hard to stay in the same place and just to maintain, or are you competing with yourself to get better and perform at a high level?
Yeah.
Whether that's in your career, whether that's when you looking at relationally, whether you're talking about your physical fitness, whether you're talking about your mental fitness, or you just talking about your finances and crushing those goals. Are you competing and trying to get, and like we said this whole time, become the best version of yourself with each day that you show up? And that's what I got to say.
That's good.
All right. Give us that 5-star review on iTunes so we can keep going up in the rankings. Those 5-star reviews really do help. Tune in each and every single Thursday and keep pursuing your version of the good life. Until then, we'll see you next week.